Hi everybody, this is Racquel Palmese. Welcome to Wisdom Wednesday. It's very good to be with you. Sometimes when I come on here, I feel like Mr. Rogers. Welcome to the neighborhood. I feel like I should be taking off my shoes and putting on my slippers and welcoming you all into my home. So this is what I'm doing. It's indeed very good to be with you. And like Mr. Rogers, I am of an age where I've seen a whole lot of life. And oh, hi everybody. Hi Danielle and Cindy. Oh, it's so good to see you, everybody. Wow. And he had this overarching kind of spirituality about himself, where all he wanted to do is share the love that he felt coming to him from God, from what he felt in his deepest heart. And he loved children, and he invited children to show the best of themselves to him. And he would wait there until they figured out how to do that. And he would talk to them and tease them and play with them until they kind of came out and blossomed. And I recently read a channeling. Someone was channeling Jesus, and Jesus said, I am not here to teach you. I am here to love you until you find yourselves, until you discover that in yourself that makes you blossom and shine. Those weren't his words, those are my words. But I am not here to change you. He said, I am not here to have an agenda for you. I do not know what is best for you. And sometimes what is best for you is the hardest path of all. Who am I to try to correct what is your learning? Who am I to say that you're on the wrong school bus, that you're trying to learn the wrong lessons? No, that's not my job. But my job is to hold you in a container to where you can feel safe to actually be honest and actually take a look at all that is clogging your pipes, in all the ways that you misidentify yourself, in all the ways that you limit yourself. That's my job. Which brings me to what is coming in today. In case you saw my little mailer announcement this morning, this has come in really strongly all day. And it is about relationship with ourselves. And relationship with ourselves is the most important relationship we have. The relationship that we have with Spirit, with God, yes. That's different though. That is not a relationship that exists so much here in the doing of our lives. The actual doing of our lives requires us to be present with ourselves. And we are encouraged to love ourselves. We're encouraged to, oh, aren't I great? But we don't feel that way a lot. A lot of times we hate ourselves. We feel contempt towards ourselves. We look in the mirror, sometimes we're wearing the wrong clothes. We just want to climb out of the skin and run around in our bones. We will get so critical about the mistakes that we make, or what we think are mistakes, misjudgments, missteps. We will come down on ourselves so hard, we will sink into a depression. we'll need to take something to try to lighten up on ourselves. And that can get started from the time we are little bitty children. Because often we get those messages that we're not enough, that we're not worthy, that what we thought was so cool and great really was terrible. We'll get embarrassed to be ourselves. We'll feel shameful, wrong. And of course, this is the work of emotional healing, the work of spiritual healing. And yet, we can work for years and years and years and still have these lingering doubts about our own validity as a person. And we'll try to bypass it and override it with good thoughts and good mantras and, good friends who support us and validate our lives, make us feel better. But take a look with me right now. How do you really feel about you? What are the areas that really bug you about yourself? We operate on so many different levels, intellectually, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. We get so insecure sometimes. We keep seeking outside of ourselves to find the love and find the answers that we feel so bereft of within. So that we do one little thing and we just feel like the worst failure in the world. Take a look. Because the idea isn't to try to love ourselves. I don't believe that that's that possible. We can, that gets into the realm of ego. Yeah, I'm a cool person, I'm great. Yeah, okay. But the deeper parts, it's not about trying to love ourselves. It really is about developing a relationship with self. It is when you begin a relationship, you have to learn the love languages of that other person. You have to appreciate the things in that other person that may not be what you think is great. Maybe you're a very active person, that other person's a bookworm, and you learn to appreciate those aspects of that person. You loosen your heart, you open your heart. And as the relationship grows, you feel more and more affinity, even though they're not like what you think you want. He's here in my, oh, there it goes. They're not what you think maybe is what you love, but then they don't disappoint you either, because you've opened your hearts to letting them be who they are. You appreciate them. When was the last time you actually appreciated your own self like that? When was the last time you opened your heart, really opened your heart to you? Think about it. When was the last time you felt appreciation for the being that you are? When was the last time that you didn't feel like a big screw up? because you made a mistake on something. We can get so angry at ourselves. If we pointed the anger at another person that we point at ourselves, it would be cruel. It would be abusive. And sometimes we do. We build up so much anger within about our own lives that we do project it out onto other people. And what happens then? We can get so disappointed in ourselves, so doubtful of our own worthiness, that we can barely stand to be inside here. We can barely stand to be with this being. We can feel like a complete failure. And then we can try to talk ourselves out of it. Well, no, you did this right, you did that right. You know, it helps a lot. But it doesn't take away that deepest of feelings, that there's something essentially wrong, something essentially hateful about us, that we're always trying to, in some way, compensate for or cover up. So building a relationship with self really has to do with learning how to see ourselves for who we are. Just like we would try to see someone else and give them the benefit of the doubt. How do we open our hearts to the many dimensions and aspects of our own being? What do we do when we walk out of the house and we just feel like we're wearing all the wrong clothes, like people are looking at us, like we don't like ourselves? How do you make it okay for you to exist within the confines of all of these contradictory feelings that you might have about yourself in the moment? So here's the secret. And it's just like really anything else in the world. We have to find a way to open our hearts to our moments, not just to our overall self, but to every moment that we're alive. Look, I'm sitting here engaged in what I'm doing. Am I feeling like maybe I can't find the right words? Maybe. But I also feel so tender towards this being that is actually trying to do this, that is actually feeling a host to angelic presence that wants to come through for you. And in that, I don't have the luxury of being in judgment of myself. I can only know that I'm trying the hardest I can to communicate with you, to feel you out there and hold you in a field of love and energy so that you may see your own self. So will you, in this moment, however you're feeling, about whatever, about the way you parent, the way you relate to your mates, the way you work, all the to-do list that's not done, and maybe some really serious things that you might have to look at and correct in your life. But will you please see yourself as I see you? See yourself through a different pair of eyes than that scrutinizing schoolmarm judge. See yourself for who you really are, for the way you try, the way you keep picking yourself up after you fall down. See yourself for your devotion to your life, for trying to get as much into it and out of it as you can. If you've listened this far into this offering I'm giving you, look at yourself and your devotion to being on a path of growth, of humility, of experientially living every moment the very best you can. And that doesn't mean that we do it a lot of the time. We don't. We can't. We're here to learn. We're here to heal. We're here a lot for attitude adjustment as a soul. Taking the lesson means we have to learn how to see ourselves the way our Creator sees us. Not as a shameful little being, hopeless and wrong, but as an emanation of that divine light that created us. Man, we don't have to love ourselves. It's really not about that. But it is about being okay with ourselves, in line with ourselves, holding our own selves up, having our own backs, fronts. So look inside right now. And if you have stayed with me this far, thank you, because you have received a very beautiful, energetic exchange with Spirit. You can feel it. Let go of the stranglehold you have on this being that is you. Thank you for your hearts and stars. Let go of the stranglehold that you hold yourself in impossible expectations. Open it up. And instead of a stranglehold, hold yourself in grace. It's the bravest, most courageous thing in the world, is to have a human life. And you know it as well as I do. So thank you, my friends. Thank you. And I will see you next week. Mahalo, Carol. Bye, everybody.